are the largest registered and active group of voters. Social Security is important to some women, and people over the age of 65 are a very large voting block as well. You have said that you would not tax some of that Social Security money. How would that work?
We're not going to tax any of the Social Security money, the benefits that go to seniors, because what you've done, what they've done to you with inflation is a disaster. It's the economy, but in terms of really the numbers, it's the inflation. We had the worst, they say it's in 48 years, I say ever. We had the worst inflation in the history of our country, and the ones that really got hurt the worst are people that are on a fixed income, like our seniors. And I said, we're not going to tax Social Security benefits of our seniors, and we're not going to do that. And that will a little bit more than even make up to what you, I mean, you lost a fortune. You went up, again, they say 21%, I think it's 50%. And all of that money, you're at a fixed income. People that were buying breakfast, they could no longer buy breakfast. They have a case, a woman goes up to the counter with 3 apples, and then she says, oh, I can't afford it. She brings 1 apple back. That's not supposed to be our country. That's not our country.
All right, let's move to a big campaign issue. I don't know if many people thought this would be where we are at this point, but in the election and in this country, transgender issues have become a focal point in races up and down the ballot. How many of you are worried about biological men and boys competing against women and girls in sports? Just show me. That's almost the entire, that is the entire room. And I know you have a question.
I do.
By the way, excuse me, it's so crazy. It's so crazy.
Your question, your name, and your hometown.
My name is Linda, and I'm from Milton, Georgia, but originally Brooklyn, New York. I get that.
Good.
My question is, how do you plan on addressing the transgender issue in women's sports? I have 9 grandchildren, 6 of them female, all playing sports, and we are very concerned for their safety, not just on the field and the courts, but in their locker rooms as well.
Right. It's such an easy question, and everybody in the room, and you know that answer, we're not going to let it happen. You look, just yesterday, they had a volleyball match. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Where a person that transitioned, okay, we have to be very careful because this can terminate your political career if you say it's slightly off, all right? But transitioned from man to female and was on a volleyball, and I saw the slam. It was a slam. I never saw a ball hit so hard. Hit the girl on the head, but other people, even in volleyball, they've been permanently, I mean, they've been really hurt badly, women playing men. But you don't have to do the volleyball. We stop it. We stop it. We absolutely stop it. You can't have it. It's a man playing in the game. I mean, physically, from a muscular, even if it was a little bit less, maybe they do all sorts of tests and drugs and everything else. Look at what's happened in swimming. Look at the records that are being broken.
So how do you stop it? Do you go to the sports leagues? Do you go to the Olympic
You just
Council?
ban it. The president bans it. You just don't let it happen. Not a big deal.
Hi, my name is Rachel Rachel S. here from Cumming, Georgia. I'm a single mom to 2 kids here. And just in 3.5 years, my child tax credit has decreased by 80%, almost.
Get what? Excuse me?
Her child tax credit has decreased by 80%.
That's
Sorry, my child tax credit
Right.
has decreased by almost 80%. Daycare, for the lowest amount, is roughly $1,400 a month for 1 child here.
yeah.
Last year, I broke my neck. I almost lost.
You have a beautiful voice, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm having a panic attack right now. Like, don't panic. I'll be right here. But last year I had broken my neck and I tried applying for any kind of assistance and was denied because I did not make less than $700 a month. And I'm shaking like a freaking leaf, I cannot stop. So I could not afford daycare. I obviously was having to go through physical therapy and a lot of issues, and I'm still having issues to this day.
I understand.
But what kind of realistic changes that do you think you can provide single parents, married parents, any kind of parent to just simply afford children in today's world with the way things are?
Right? It is not fair.
No.
You never heard of Ivanka, right? Ivanka. My daughter drove me crazy on this. We had the simplest, most beautiful tax. You know, I gave you the largest tax cuts in the history of our country, okay? Larger than the Reagan cuts, larger. But my daughter, Ivanka, she said, Dad, we have to do tax credits for women, you know, for the child tax credits. She was driving me crazy. Then I did it, and I got it just about done. Dad, you've got to double it up. I said, Ivanka, it was actually more complicated than the entire bill, but I got it done. And what we're going to do, and I'm going to, because I understand exactly what you're saying, we're going to readjust things so that it's fair to everybody, because it's really not fair to everybody. But we have a lot, and we're going up higher, but we're also going to readjust, because you have to make some readjustments. It's unfair to some people, and we're not going to have that. But she was the one that got it started. You know, those were our credits. Those were not the Democrat credits. A lot of Republicans said, rightfully, don't do it because we never get credit for that. You know, we're not known for that. But the truth is,
yeah,
I
brilliant.
wanted to put it all in the form of the tax cut. So I got the maximum tax cut, but we're also bringing down the taxes for companies and for people. We're bringing it down to 15%. And for companies,
Better get me a
only if you
whiskey,
make
though.
your product, build your product in the USA. Otherwise, you don't get it. So
Where's Dougal? Where's Dougal? You come to see me? You're a good boy.
What your vision
You're a good
is
boy.
for people in this
You're a
country
good boy.
who are going
Dougal
to have
protected
to
biscuit
readjust
from
the
the
pricing
yappy.
now. We will never go back to what
Oh.
we had. And even though
Wouldn't
the
you? As a
inflation
good
rate has
boy.
slowed, the prices are so high.
A little
they are just
wiry
getting
terrier.
higher at a slower rate.
He
So
went for
what
biscuit
happens
and
to the
Dougal protected
economy
him.
such that people can
Oh.
afford bacon that's
You're a
not
good boy.
28% cost? Like, what do we do?
So, I feel so badly about what's happened, because none of this would have happened. Just to start, there wouldn't have been a war in Ukraine and Russia. There wouldn't have been an October 7th in Israel. There wouldn't have been this horrible, most embarrassing day in the history of our country with Afghanistan, where we lost 13 soldiers, but they never talk about the soldiers that are so badly wounded, I mean, with legs and arms and face obliteration, all these things, and there wouldn't have been any inflation. And it's so sad to say, we have to get prices down because the damage is done. You know, when they say, well, we're stopping inflation because it went down now to 4.5%. Well, 4.5% is very high. It's very high, meaning it's going up because it was at 3 and then, but it was at one point, I believe 40 or 50%. Because if you look, they didn't include a lot. They didn't include, I had interest rates at 2%. They went
Thank you
to
very
10%.
much.
They were
Drive carefully.
10%.
I'll back Brooks as I see it. Go and jump his battery. His pyro fuse is gone.
Pricing down. It's this big old lump.
Do you want to call him up and tell him I'm going shopping and I'll see him later? Give him a ring.
Okay, I'll
Please.
get out there.
Please. Yeah, hang it up.
We have
Love you loads.
Anybody, we don't use it.
I'll see you later.
Venezuela to get their tar. You know, they don't have, they have tar, and we have to refine it. We have, the only refinery that can do it is in Houston, Texas. So if
Sure,
you're
Doc.
an environmental person, this stuff is pouring up. It's the worst stuff. We have the